You ready for me? Oh, okay. Okay, so let's give you the update this week on what's going on in the world. So as stated last week, and I think also the week before, we had talked about the fact that we have a new general in the White House. He's not from the Pentagon, he's one of ours. And so we have been working together directly to help clean things up in the White House. So last week we talked about the fact that there were about 20 people that had been removed. This week we had about 50 people that were removed or put down into second string in the White House, whether it was Secret Service or a number of different people. So we've done a really great job, or he's doing a really great job at assisting the president and making sure everybody is listening to him. And getting him all the correct information. So we've kind of been pushing out the deep state bit by bit. In accordance with other deep state news, we also this week organized a little bit of a ruse with the general, and we had sent a file to the general from the backside system, which gave all of the information on every person in the House and in the Senate and in several key banking positions throughout the country. So also the Federal Reserve was in there as well. And everybody got to see everybody else's dirty laundry, whether they're partaking in pedophilia or they're partaking in other things that would not be, how do I say this, appropriate for a representative of the United States. So they've all received the files. Everybody was in a full-on panic, including Schumer and Pelosi, and they should have been. They had some very interesting information in there as well. So everybody knew everything about everyone. So the whole blackmail game is now pretty much over because there's nothing left to give. So
we need sound effects for the show. I'm sorry, because like right now I want to drop the bomb.
Boom.
Because
Okay.
The reality of how big that is, underplayed a little bit. Him is the master of saying amazing things like she went to the store. But
So that was very exciting this week, which had to be done before the next step could happen. I knew that the government was in dire need of funds. I know that all of the American people are in dire need of funds as well right now. I know that everybody's waiting for another stimulus check, and the stimulus bill keeps getting kicked down the road a bit. So I told you last week, and I think the week before, that we were going to start asking for favors. So if we're not going to get our 2% because we're fighting with the banks, and I'll put more on that a little bit later, then we are going to have a favor. So we agreed to transfer $1.47 trillion to the U.S. government in exchange for paying off all student loans. So we bought the portfolio and returned the student loan portfolio back paid in full. So they now have cash to spend. And one of the announcements that's supposed to be made was guaranteed to me that would be made by Monday afternoon, that the student loans would be forgiven or waived. They probably won't mention us. They probably won't mention what we've done this week, but they will mention that they have written off the student loans or something to that effect. Otherwise, they don't get to keep the money. So they have till Monday, end of business, and that's how that's going to go. As you know, they jumped very quickly after that transfer into trying to pass the stimulus bill yesterday. It is important to understand that we had a little bit of a, myself and Mr. Melville and a few other folks had a little bit of a scurry yesterday because the Democrats decided that they were going to try to slide in mandatory vaccines into that bill and also no stimulus checks for the people. And so that was not the deal we had made. So I called back on the diplomatic line and I explained that these two things had to be taken out. In order for the money to stay. So, and I told Trump to go ahead and put that one on me. I said, they can all come after me, that's fine, but that's the conditions that I have. If you're not going to assist us in getting our 2%, which Mnuchin could absolutely do, and other members of the government could absolutely do, then fine, no problem, but these are my conditions. So now we're going to play a game here. As I understood it, last night, those things were taken out, and I have another stipulation that I'll get to a little bit further on in the intel for this week. So they were taken out of the bill. I don't know, I didn't look much past last night. Did they actually pass the bill today, Tank, with stimulus checks?
I haven't seen it yet, but I would imagine that President Trump's announcement today has something.
Yeah, hopefully, I think so. Maybe they moved up Monday to Sunday. So we'll see what happens with that. If not, I know we'll be hearing about it probably come Monday. Everybody needs money, including all of the people that hang around DC to get money. The biggest news of this week is going to come now. So as part of, in talking to Tank and a few other members of the team and a few other members of Life Force this week, I've been introduced to a very interesting machine called the quantum healing machine. They've been discussing it now for a few weeks, and I don't know if everybody understands really how valuable that is. So we're going to go into that in a few minutes. But I also have given all that information to the president when I sent over the transfer. So the important thing to know about this machine, it's not only a diagnostic machine, it will diagnose COVID. It will also heal and cure COVID as well. So for all those listening that may be involved with the White House or any other government around the world, please understand the COVID fake virus, the mask wearing, all of these things are designed to obviously cause physical health problems for every human on the planet. However, COVID doesn't exist. So for some that may have only a few symptoms, I'm not supposed to say the word cure. Okay, we'll eradicate the pathogen known as the coronavirus from your system. So in some of the, in younger children, it may take one session, and in severely affected adults, it may take up to 5. Now, the very interesting part about this is that China, who was the first to be infected with the COVID virus, in cooperation with CODIS, and if you don't know who that is an operation in Virginia, tied to a number of other folks that operate in Virginia. This virus that was released firstly in China was made in 1964. So it came to my attention that Hillary Clinton, or the Clintons plural, and the Rothschild have signed a contract with a company called KPMG. That's Kimberly, Paul, Mary, George. KPMG, if you don't know, is the largest auditor of the Federal Reserve. They also audit the Treasury Department, every other central bank on the planet, and in addition to that, many of the Tier 1 banking institutions, including JP Morgan, where our funds are still sitting, and Lumi Bank, where our other funds are still sitting. So in addition to that, in my research and trying to assist KPMG to get out of the way, we've also found that the Clintons transferred all their child trafficking network, their child pornography sites, and their child auction sites to KPMG's databases. Convenient. So it was very convenient, actually. It was quite helpful, matter of fact. So it took me about 41 to 48 hours from the time of initiation to complete phase 2. This was phase 2. I just finished the last piece of it about 2 hours ago. KPMG should no longer be able to function anywhere in the world. At all.
Whoo!
Boom.
So I hope they have a good time when they finally decide to call the Clintons and tell them that their systems are no longer repairable and there's nothing they can do. And it took them about 30 to 40 years to build that network of databases. So I wish them all the luck in the world with that. And so with that, we're hoping this makes it a little bit easier to get our funds directly through to the end project owner and the recipient. So we keep working on it. We're doing everything we can. And of course, the other side is doing everything they can in order to prevent this from happening. So we are working as hard as we can. We are doing everything possible to make it happen. So with that being said, I